As Jesus matured physically, he grew into a handsome young man. He looked calm but often serious. Despite this, he was kind and compassionate. His smile was always engaging and reassuring. His voice was musical but had a tone of authority. His greeting was cordial but unaffected. If you could have observed him closely, you would have observed something of his dual nature, human and divine. He always showed the combination of a compassionate friend and an authoritative teacher, even in the most ordinary contacts. These qualities appeared early on, even in these years of his adolescence. He had a healthy, well-developed body, and a sharp, analytical mind. His temperament was extroverted, and this fluctuated slightly up and down. At a glance, one saw a strong, striking, and attractive personality. By the age of 21, he was an accomplished carpenter. He had become a craftsman with his whole being. His tools were extensions of his arms. Every blow he gave with the hammer looked natural, was fixed, hard, and precise. He daily used his innate spatial understanding to deliver custom work. It is literally true that the creative Word became flesh and dwelt as a man on earth. He labored and became weary, he became hungry and satisfied these needs with food. He grew thirsty and quenched his thirst with water. He experienced the whole gamut of human feelings and emotions. He was tried in all things, as well as every other human being, and he suffered and died. He acquired knowledge and gained experience, which he combined into wisdom, as did other mortals of this world. Until after his baptism, he never used any of his divine supernatural power. Because Jesus was tried and tested on earth, he can very well understand and assist mortals who are confused. He himself has gone through the experience of doubt and confusion. He lived exactly like all other people. His prayers and supplications were sometimes with vehement feelings and tears. He prayed to him who can save from all evil, and his prayers were effective because he believed. He had become like his brethren in every respect so that he might be a merciful and understanding sovereign over them. Regarding his human nature, he was never in doubt. But regarding his divine nature, until his baptism, there was always room for doubt and conjecture. His own realization of his divinity was a slow revelation. Slowly Jesus became keenly aware that he was in possession of a wide range of potential power. But he was equally fully convinced that this power was not to be used by his personality as the Son of Man, at least not as long as his hour had not yet come. He was entirely on his own. With these difficulties, he could turn to no one. Bent over his workbench, he thought a lot, but he spoke little about his relationship with his Father in heaven. The final conclusion of all this thinking he once put into words in his prayer on the top of a hill, when he said, "Whoever I may be, and whatever power I may, or may not, exercise, I have always submitted and will always submit to the will of my Father." In his 18th year of life, Elizabeth and John came to visit the family in Nazareth. Zechariah had passed away. John was engaged in farming and raising sheep. Mary and Elizabeth had not seen each other for a long time and discussed the situation surrounding their sons. They came to the conclusion that it would be good for the two young men to work together and see each other more often. But Jesus and John came to a different conclusion after a few deep conversations. They discussed some very confidential and personal matters. At the end of this visit, they decided not to see each other again until they would meet in their public appearance when the Heavenly Father would have called them. John gained the conviction through this visit that he would be part of Jesus' life mission, but he recognized that Jesus would be preoccupied for many years to support and care his family. Jesus and John did not meet again until the day when the Son of Man was baptized in the Jordan River. As a child, he accumulated a vast amount of knowledge. As a youth, he sorted and classified this knowledge and related it, and now, as a man, he begins to organize this mental property so that he can later make use of it in his teaching, action, and service for the benefit of his fellow mortals in this world. Now that he has become a mature man, he begins to get ready for his supreme mission, to reveal God to men and lead men to God. Gradually it became more and more difficult for his mother and his brothers and sisters to understand this part of him. They misunderstood his words and misinterpreted his actions. None of them were able to understand the budding divine nature in their eldest brother. Mary had sometimes whispered to her other children that Jesus was destined to become the liberator of the Jewish people. You can understand how confusing it was for his brothers when Jesus openly denied all these ideas and intentions. They did not understand him, but they had great confidence in him. His brother James, in his youth, understood little of Jesus' mission on earth. But he was determined as soon as he was old enough to take on family responsibilities so that Jesus could begin his mission.